Hello and welcome back to another Yoga for MMA session. Today we're going to be focusing on Yin style yoga, some more relaxation and active recovery. If you'd like to listen to music whilst doing this practice, I've put a link to a Spotify playlist below. Feel free to use this. Otherwise, let's get straight into it, starting lying on our backs, and slowly bring your right knee to your armpit or chest, and here we're just flexing both of our feet, and if this is a bit tight then you can always bend your left leg, and this can help get you deeper into the stretch, whatever suits your body best. Whilst you're here, you can roll your ankle one way and another way, getting the most out of this position. Whilst you're here, you can close your eyes and really relax into these poses. We may be holding them for quite a while, so just focus on your breathing and enjoying the posture as much as possible, feeling any sensations that arise and just breathing through them. Today was quite a windy day, not particularly warm, so I was trying to find my inner peace whilst I was here. Okay, so now extending your right leg up to the sky, and you can point and flex your right toes, or right ankle should I say, all whilst trying to pull your right leg closer to your body, stretching out the hamstrings. Once again, you've got the option of having your left leg out straight or bent, depending on how your body feels today. On your next exhale, bend the knee again, and then we're going to prepare to twist over. So this means that we're going to extend our right arm out to the side and then twist our right leg across our body. And this should feel quite a bit of a release in the lower back and hip area. You just want to breathe gently into this, making sure you're not forcing the position, trying to keep both shoulders on the ground and turning your hips to the side. As well as the obvious physical stretch benefits, this is a great thing to do to help your digestive system, helping to aid by twisting and almost massaging out your internal organs. We will be holding this for just a while, so get comfortable in this position and remember to continue with the deep breathing. Last few breaths before we'll be releasing out of this position and bringing our right knee back into the chest, seeing if we can get any deeper into the stretch. Then preparing to swap to the other side, bringing the left knee into the chest this time, once again possibly rolling out to the left ankle, circles both directions, with the option of possibly bending the right leg to get deeper into the stretch if this feels better for your body. And once again, we'll be holding this position for quite a while, so just breathe into the pose, trying to get that left knee closer and closer to your left armpit. Slowly begin to extend your left leg into the air, pointing and flexing your left ankle whilst pulling that left leg towards your chest to get into the hamstrings. I'm not particularly flexible from this position myself, and therefore it's a great posture to be practicing, as a lot of martial artists get quite tight in the hamstrings through the repetition of kicks and just the general footwork and strain that mixed martial arts puts upon you. Last few deep, long breaths. And then we're going to rebend the left knee, placing our left arm out to the side and twisting our left knee over and across for the opposite side twist. Go as far as you did on the other side, trying to balance things up. You might find that one side is tighter than the other side, so don't force any position. Just breathe into it, let any tension go from your body, holding this position for the next couple minutes. Slowly begin to unravel from the twist. Now bringing your left knee back into your chest for a final time, just to see if you can get any deeper into this stretch, whether you feel looser maybe already. Then bringing both knees into the chest, hugging your knees towards you, and just now creating circles with your knees. So placing both hands on your knees and circling both directions, just massaging out the lower back on the ground. Once you've done circles both directions, then you're going to circleize your legs in opposite directions as well, so separating the knees apart. Once again, go in both directions, of course, just really getting the hips mobilized, letting go of any unnecessary tensions that your body's holding on to. Now grab onto both big toes, all outside of your feet if this is more comfortable. Coming into happy baby. So basically you're bending your knees and bringing them towards your chest to the outside this time. And this is a great one for the lower back as well as the hips. Really gets deep into it. And as I'm doing, you can add a little rock side to side, which can also help with the lower back as well. Okay, so now we're going to release our happy baby pose, letting go of our feet, placing them back onto the ground. And we're going to just go through a couple of bridge motions. So lifting first our tailbone, hip, then all the way up to the higher vertebrae. Not going too far into it just yet, just warming up our spine. So slowly rolling up and then slowly rolling back down again, vertebra over vertebra, with as much control as possible. Try to connect your breathing to this movement. Last one, and then we're going to bring our knees back into our chest and rock forwards and backwards until we come up to a seated position. So once we come up to a seated position, we're going to start off with our butterfly legs. We're going to keep our hips relatively far away from our feet to keep a loose butterfly pose. So this allows you to kind of get a bit deeper into the position and it makes you look a bit more flexible as well. But yes, it's a great one for a restorative position. Puts a bit less pressure on your hips by letting your feet be a bit further away from your body and releases out the lower back once again, which seems to be just a key point in martial arts or most sports really. You get a lot of tightness in that lower back area, and this can be often due to the way we rest, sitting in seats a lot of the time, going from active positions to then relying on seats and being stuck in immobile positions for long periods of time. It's great to keep your body moving, which is the benefit of doing a slow class like this. Last few deep breaths. See if you can get any deeper into this pose before we slowly come out of the pose, walking our hands back and bringing our knees together, then extending out your left leg and placing your right foot on the inside of the left leg in a bent position, and then you'll grab your right knee with your left hand and side bend so that you're getting the opening into the side of the body whilst kind of adding a bit of a twist as well. Try to keep that left foot flexed because that will get more into the hamstring and also make it maybe a bit less comfortable, although it's good to put yourself in these positions and be able to hold them for a period of time, being comfortable in discomfort. Now place both hands onto your left foot, turning your body towards the stretch even further. Here we just want to breathe nice and deeply, not forcing the position, just letting gravity get us deeper into the pose through relaxing our muscles from here. So beginning to come out of this position and place your right hand behind you, and you're going to push your hips forwards and extend your body out, opening your heart to the sky and getting the opposite arch of the body just to balance out what we did in our forward fold. Then we're going to come back down to the ground, placing our right foot across and over the top of our left leg and bringing that knee close to our chest, trying to keep a nice straight posture from here, preparing for our twist. Inhale, lift the left arm up to the sky, placing the right hand behind you. Then place the left elbow next to your right knee to get the twist position, keeping a nice straight posture as you breathe into this twist. Last few deep inhales and exhales, seeing if you can twist maybe even deeper. Slowly releasing the twist and then placing both legs out straight in front of you and coming to the other side. So the left foot placed on the inside of the right leg, grabbing your left knee with your right hand, and then coming to your side bend. If you're really flexible, you might be able to grab your right toes with your left hand. But for me, and maybe for a couple of others, this is quite far away. So just stick with what you can do, remembering to breathe and be present in the moment. On your next exhale, you're going to turn your body towards your right foot, grabbing that foot or shin, wherever you can reach. Then forward fold, stretching out that right hamstring whilst keeping that left hip open on the ground. Maybe using blocks to help aid the posture and position if this feels needed. Okay, so last few breaths, remembering to really emphasize on the exhale, releasing the tension. Release the hold of your foot, then place your left hand behind you, pushing your hips forwards, opening your heart to the sky, and just counteracting that forward fold. Last couple breaths here. Then we're going to come back to a seated position, crossing our left foot over our extended right leg, bringing the left knee into our chest, feeling any tension in the hip. I found that there was a bit of release around the outer hip for myself here. On your next inhale, you're going to raise your right hand up to the sky, placing your left hand behind you. Then place the right arm across our knee to get into our twist, remembering to keep a nice straight posture if possible, and keep that right foot flexed to continue the calf and hamstring stretch. Okay, so slowly coming out of this position, extending both legs out in front of you, maybe just kicking it out, getting the blood back into your legs. And then we're going to windshield wiper our knees side to side, just mobilizing the hips. We've been doing a lot of static holds, so just getting a bit of dynamic movement in here now. Next time you swing your legs to the side, you're going to bring your body up and fold forwards the side the shin is in front. So folding forwards in front of the front shin, just getting a bit deeper, kind of working into a pigeon-like adapted pose, just swiveling our hips side to side, using a bit of our core to do this. Okay, so now placing both hands behind you, and we're coming into our inverted crawls. So crawling forwards and backwards. Otherwise, this is known as like an inverted tabletop position. What we want to do is keep our hips as high as possible, and you can feel a bit of a stretch and mobilization in the shoulders as you do this. So next time you come back to the center of your mat, I'm going to ask you to reach your hand up to the sky. So alternating sides, pushing your hips up as you reach your hand towards the sky. If this is a bit too much of a challenge, then just hold the position we're already in. Place both hands back onto the ground if they're already not there. Walk yourself to the front of the mat and come into your garland yoga squat, or otherwise known as Malasana position. And here we can just roll out our wrists, multitasking our yoga benefits. Once this has been done, bring yourself back into just your regular yoga squat. And in jiu-jitsu or wrestling, you find yourself in positions like this squat. So it's important to have nice open hips and flexible ankles as well in this kind of position. We're now going to extend our right hand out to the side and twist to the left, maybe looking up to the sky from here. Of course, if this is an uncomfortable position, do feel free to come out of this into maybe a forward fold and then return back to the yoga squat. On the other hand, if you want to grab the bind, you can do this, grabbing maybe the hand or the wrist for a deeper shoulder opener as well as twist. Last few moments here. Then releasing the grip if you went for the bind or detwisting, and coming to the other side, so placing your left hand to the ground, twisting out to the right hand side. Once again, grabbing the bind is an option from here, whether you go for the hand or the wrist. And also you can come out of this position to just come maybe into a child's pose or other position to release out the pressure if it's a tight, uncomfortable position for you. Remember to connect to your deep breathing if you have forgotten to do this. So letting go of the bind if you took it, coming back to a central position, and then we're going to forward fold into our ragdoll, bending the knees as much as you feel like you want to. So if you're looking to stretch out your hamstrings more, probably better to start to straighten out the legs. But if you're looking to release the lower back, then bending the knees is a great suggestion. Also, if you're a bit tight like myself, it's beneficial to bend the legs. No harm here. Remember to relax the back of your neck, just hanging, letting gravity get you deeper into this position. Now we are going to slowly release the grip of the elbows if you took it, and roll vertebra for vertebra. Last thing coming up is your head, all the way up to mountain pose, then lifting our hands up to the sky and folding forwards once again. We're going to do this roll up 2 more times. So super slowly stack the vertebra all the way up, your head being the last thing to raise, then all the way exhaling back down again, and repeat this one more time, rolling all the way through the spine, lifting the hands to the sky, and then exhaling back down. So we are going to now inhale and flat back, maybe placing our hands on our shins for an even flatter spine. Then exhale, fold deeply forwards. 2 more times. So inhale, flat back. Then exhale, fold even deeper. One more time, inhaling, then exhaling. And now we're going to place our knees onto the ground, coming into our tabletop position. Then we're going to inhale for cow pose and exhale for cat. So move to the speed of your own breath, inhaling and exhaling through the poses, taking your time through the movements. Last couple of inhales and exhales through cat and cow before coming back to a neutral spine, then rocking forwards and backwards, almost like you're coming down to a child's pose, then rocking into a plankish position. This should be good to mobilize your shoulders, hips, as well as warm up the wrists as well. Another option is doing a figure 8 position with your body, so basically moving in a figure 8 manner. Of course, swap the direction once you've done so many one way. Otherwise, you can just do simple circles with your body as well. So now we're going to do a little bit of core work. So we're going to come into a crawl, lifting our knees off the ground, and then just moving forwards and backwards on our mat. Next time you return to the center, we're going to do our sit-throughs. So kicking our right leg through, lifting our left arm off the ground, and then alternating. So right arm comes off, left leg gets kicked through for the sit-through, and just slowly moving from one side to the other side. Of course, the sit-through is used in wrestling and jiu-jitsu to escape positions, but it's also a great movement to go through to work on your core and mobility. Come into a downward dog position now. So you can walk out your toes, maybe bending one knee and the other knee, just to stretch out the calves or anywhere else that feels tight currently. Just finding the downward dog position, finding comfort in this position, and breathing most importantly from here. Take one more deep inhale and exhale, and then we're going to lift up our right leg from the ground in a 3-legged dog. Then we're going to open up our hip to the side by bending our right knee and kind of looking maybe to the right under our armpit. And we do have the option of coming to Wild Thing by dropping our right foot behind us and opening ourselves up to the sky, arching our back. Then, if you took the Wild Thing and come back into a 3-legged dog, then place your right foot to the outside of both your hands in a lizard pose, keeping that left knee off the ground for the moment as you reach your right hand up to the sky for a twist position. Holding here and breathing most importantly. Now dropping the left knee to the ground and grabbing your left toes for a quadricep stretch. If this feels too uncomfortable, then just stay in the previous pose with the knee lowered to the ground this time. Releasing the bind if you took it and placing both hands back onto the ground, maybe dropping down to your elbows for a deeper lizard pose. Once again, the options are up to you, so you decide which pose serves your body the best. We are going to be holding this for a few minutes, so really relax into this and try to let go of any unnecessary tension. Taking our last couple of breaths, and then we're going to work to go into a pigeon pose. So in your own time, just slide the shin in front of your body, flexing that right foot to protect the right knee, and just dropping down eventually to the ground. Maybe taking your time, as I did here, to just sit up in the pigeon pose first of all, and then slowly come to your elbows if this feels accessible. If this particular position is uncomfortable, then you could always go for a reclined version of the pigeon pose where you lie on your back and bring your shin close to your body this way. Once again, we'll be holding this position, so remember to focus on your breathing. If you want to add another position to this pose, you can thread your left arm underneath your body for a further twist and a bit of a shoulder opener as well. But if you wish to stay, and if the previous pose serves you better, then please, I insist to stay here instead. Slowly walk yourself out of the pigeon pose, wherever you found yourself to be. We're all going to find ourselves back into a downward dog, resetting ourselves, maybe feeling the difference between one side and the other side after those deep stretches we held. Coming to the other side now, so lifting up your left leg for a three-legged dog, and then opening up the hip to the side, bending the left knee, and if you like, you got the option of Wild Thing, dropping the left foot down and pushing your hips up to the sky. Otherwise, just hold that three-legged dog, and we'll end up all returning back to the three-legged dog and coming into our lizard pose. So placing our left foot to the outside of both hands, still keeping that right knee off the ground to start off with, then opening up our left hand to the sky for our twist. Dropping our right knee to the ground, we can grab the right foot with our hand for the bind and a quadricep stretch. If this isn't comfortable though, or if you feel any sharp sensations in your knee, please back off and just return with the knee on the ground and basically no bind here. If you took the bind, letting go of the bind and placing both hands back on the ground, and if it feels accessible, you can place your elbows on the ground, getting deep into our lizard pose, otherwise known as runner's lunge. So this is great for if you've been doing a lot of running. It stretches out the hip flexors a lot. And for MMA purposes, of course, it's useful in many grappling situations and as well as striking situations for example, head kicks and other movements. Remember, this is your practice, this is your time that you allocated for yourself, so look to enjoy this process of holding these stretches, and of course, focus on that breathing, that long, deep breath, calming your mind. On the last deep inhale and exhale, we are then going to swap to the pigeon pose. So sliding our left shin in front of us, flexing that left foot, and first of all, sitting up a little bit, getting into the position, and then when you feel comfortable to, you can slowly come back down to the ground, placing your elbows down if this is accessible and if this serves you. Really relax into this pose as we'll be holding it for a while, like we did with the other side. Just breathing nice and deeply, letting your mind wander and letting go. If you threaded the needle on the other side, you've got the option of doing it this side, and I suggest doing it to balance things up if you did it the other way around. So just sliding your right arm underneath your left shoulder, getting a bit of a twist. Of course, if you didn't do this the other way, then just stick to the original pigeon pose, continuing with long, deep breathing. Wherever you are, slowly unraveling yourself, coming back into your downward dog once again. Just moving how it feels good, maybe even just staying still and just letting go, feeling your body, seeing how the sensation of equalizing both sides has changed the mobility maybe, or the stability. Then coming down into a child's pose, knees spread out and toes touching together, letting your hands be separated mat distance apart, resting your forehead on the ground and letting yourself melt into your mat. Now walking both your hands over to the right hand side, getting a side stretch on your left hand side of your body, and maybe resting your forehead down here and possibly stacking your left hand on top of your right hand for a deeper side bend. On your next exhale, you're going to release and come back through the center all the way over to the right hand side, this time possibly stacking your left hand on top of your right hand, just doing and going as far as feels comfortable, as far as is challenging your body, getting that side bend from the child's pose position. Cool. So now let's slowly come back to the center, back into our child's pose position. Just chilling out here as we come closer to the end of our practice. Bringing both palms together and placing your hands behind your neck. And this should create a shoulder stretch if you walk your elbows forward slightly. This is especially useful for strikers who tend to have internally rotated shoulders from lots of punches. It's just a great way of opening out the shoulders in the opposite direction. Slowly coming out of this position up into an all fours position once again. And we're just going to mobilize our legs and hips. So opening our left leg out to the side and just repeating this motion up and down, and then swapping to the other side, doing at least about 5 on each side, opening out the hip, getting a bit of motion back from the static holds. Now, keeping your leg bent, you're going to extend behind you and then touch your knee to nose. So just extending the leg up and behind you, engaging the back muscles. And then on the 5th time, you can go and grab the bind with your right hand, grabbing your left foot, adding a deeper quadricep stretch from here. If this isn't accessible, then just hold the left leg out from the floor. Okay, so swapping sides. So right leg up and behind you, touching your nose, and then elevating up. It should engage your back muscles quite a bit. On this last one, you're going to grab for the bind if you did it on the other side. And then releasing the grip if you took it, coming back to an all fours position, and just maybe adding any extra movements that feel good from here before sitting down and coming back to our butterfly legs. Maybe this time bring your hips and feet closer together for a bit more intensity in the stretch. Otherwise, you can repeat what we did earlier by keeping quite a loose-legged grip. Once again, fold forwards from here, and don't worry about rounding your back. Just relax and let gravity get you deeper into the stretch. Slowly unraveling from this pose, and you're going to bring your right foot close to your body and then grab your left foot and extend it out for a hamstring stretch from here. Then swap the grip, so right hand is going to grab the left leg and then twist out to the side to just counter the forward folds we've been doing. And we're going to stack that foot across and over, similar to how we did it earlier, this time with the leg not extended in front of us. And as we twist, we can go for that bind, so we can grab the hand or wrist. Wherever you find yourself, just breathe and stay nice and relaxed, remembering this is a restorative practice, so not forcing anything whilst we do this. Letting go of the bind if you took it, and detwisting from here, coming to the other side. So this time you're going to grab your right foot with both hands, extending the leg out as far as you can, getting into those hamstrings one last time. Swap the hands over, so your left hand swaps over, and then you're going to extend your right arm behind you, using your core for stability. Now stack the right foot over the top, and we're going to go into our twist once again. So twisting to the right, and you got the option of going for the bind once again, feeding that left hand through and under the right knee. Otherwise, just staying here and going wherever is best of service to you. Okay, so letting go of the bind if you took it, de-twisting once again, and then we're gonna slowly come onto our back, just rocking back and forwards, giving ourselves a bit of a massage, and then we're gonna come into our shoulder stand, so we're extending our legs up to the sky. And make sure you don't look at the computer screen or anything else around you. Keep your head central to protect your neck. If you want to check what I'm doing, then come out the pose and check safely, please. And you can use your hands to assist your lower back as well. So this is not only a great balance, but it's great for the blood flow to go to your head more, and this can make you feel quite good afterwards, I find. Keeping our legs straight, we're going to come into Plow Pose. So our legs are going to come down to the ground behind us, and if we can, the lace side of our feet are going to land on the ground, and we can grab a grasp of our hands together behind us for a shoulder stretch as well. I bet a few of you who've done jiu-jitsu can relate to this position of discomfort when you get stacked, but nevertheless it's a great way of keeping yourself flexible. Now bring your knees and bend them basically, so you're bringing them close to your shoulders, and you can grab around your legs here, and it can create pressure around your ears to get a deeper fold. This position reminds me of trying to fold a human into a boot or small space, so it's quite a funny position really. So slowly coming out of this position and letting your spine come back to the ground. You might find a good release as you do this. And then we're just going to let our knees fold in together, our feet out, and just let our lower back rest on the ground for a moment. Okay, so coming into bridge pose. This time we're going to grab our basket clasp with our hands and get our shoulders underneath our body. Of course, you can go for the first variation we did earlier of moving through, but this time I'm looking to hold this bridge pose and just counteract the plow pose we just did. slowly letting go of the grip and letting your spine wrap down onto the ground, bringing your knees back into your chest, rocking side to side, and then we're gonna go for our side twists. I decided to cross my legs over and make this a deeper stretch, but you can just let your knees both fall down to the side without adding this extra intensity. Hopefully this twist will detox anything that's left over. I'll be holding this for a while, so remember just to focus on your breathing, especially the exhales in this position. Okay, so coming out of the pose and swapping over to the other side, repeating whatever you just did the other way. So now letting your knees fall to your right hand side and try to keep your shoulders on the ground, maybe scooting your hips slightly to the left, and then just relaxing and breathing. Last deep breath, and then we're gonna unravel from this position, bringing our knees to our chest for a final time. If you wish, you can take a happy baby pose, grabbing onto the big toes or the outsides of the feet, and you can add a little rock side to side. Otherwise, feel free to come into Shavasana, your final pose, just lying on the floor and letting everything go. If you took happy baby, just let go of the feet and we'll all come to Shavasana. And I'll leave you here, so stay here as long as you wish. I hope you enjoyed this class. If you did, please like and subscribe. And until next time, I wish you all the best in your days.